We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News, India's Voice to the World. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. White House freezes funds for Democratic states and shutdown slap hits transit and green projects. Vice President J.D. Vance warns of federal worker cuts if shutdown continues. U.S. vows to defend Qatar against attacks following Israeli strikes last month. President Trump signs an executive order that will make any attack on Qatar a threat to peace and security of the United States. India pays homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 156th birth anniversary. The day is also observed worldwide as the International Day of Non-Violence. Festival of Dussehra, also known as Vijay, is being celebrated across India and with religious fervour, marking triumph of good over evil. And India and West Indies to clash in the first test of the two-match series in Ahmedabad today. For the first time in more than a decade, Virat Kohli, R. Ashwin and Rohit Sharma will not be in the starting lineup. And on to the details now. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration on Wednesday froze $26 billion for Democratic-leaning states following through on a threat to use the government shutdown to target Democratic priorities. Well, the targeted programs included $18 billion for transit projects in New York and $8 billion for green energy projects in 16 Democratic-run states, including California and Illinois. Now, the government shutdown, the 15th since the year 1981, suspended scientific research, financial oversight, environmental cleanup efforts, and a wide range of other activities. Some 750,000 federal workers were ordered not to work, while others, such as troops and Border Patrol agents, began to work without pay. The Department of Veteran Affairs said it would provide burials at national cemeteries but would not erect headstones or mow the grass. And the White House warned on Wednesday that worker layoffs are imminent as the first day of the government shutdown unfolded, even as Vice President J.D. Vance insisted no final decisions have been made. Well, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt told reporters government agencies are already preparing for cuts. Vance acknowledged the situation could escalate quickly into layoffs if the shutdown continues, even as he said no final decision has been made about whether certain workers will be laid off or furloughed.
Well, first of all, we haven't made any final decisions about what we're going to do with certain workers. What we're saying is that we might have to take extraordinary steps, especially the longer this goes on. We're going to have to take extraordinary measures to ensure the people's government operates, again, not perfectly, because it's not going to operate perfectly in the midst of a shutdown, but operate as well as it possibly can.
Well, Democrats and Republicans have been trading blame for a U.S. government shutdown that began on Wednesday. GOP leaders who gave a press conference at the U.S. Capitol dubbed it the Schumer shutdown after Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Now, Chuck Schumer shot back that Republicans were lying by saying the Democrats shut the government down because they want health care funding for illegal immigrants. Republicans say a Democratic proposal would open up subsidized Affordable Health Care Act coverage to people who are in the country illegally. Now, that's not true, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. On Wednesday, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance accused Schumer of bending to far-left radicals in his party. Democratic leaders have pointed out that Republicans control both houses of Congress and the White House and say they are therefore responsible for keeping the government functioning. And the United States has vowed to defend Qatar against any armed attack following Israeli strikes last month. President Donald Trump signed an executive order declaring that any attack on Qatar's territory, sovereignty or critical infrastructure will be considered a threat to U.S. peace and security. Now, the order, welcomed by Qatar as a milestone in bilateral defense ties, comes after Israel attempted to kill Hamas leaders in Doha, alarming Washington due to Qatar's role as host of the largest U.S. base in the region. Trump's directive authorizes diplomatic, economic and, if necessary, military action. It also requires U.S. defense officials to maintain contingency plans with Qatar, signaling an unprecedented deepening of America's security commitment in the Gulf. And Israel has announced that its forces are tightening the siege around Gaza City by extending a military corridor across the territory towards the coast. Now, the move is a part of ongoing efforts to restore long-term stability to the area. Meanwhile, Hamas continues to deliberate over a peace proposal presented by former U.S. President Donald Trump. The proposal was unveiled earlier this week in coordination with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The plan, aimed at ending nearly 2 years of conflict, has received support from Israel as a constructive step towards peace. Now, Trump has given Hamas a limited time frame to respond, signaling urgency in advancing a resolution. Also, the Israeli military has issued new evacuation orders for residents of Gaza City, urging them to move south. Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that the move aims to tighten the encirclement around Gaza and isolate Hamas operatives in the north. He added this is the final chance for Gaza residents to evacuate south before further military action escalates. Also, the EU leaders on Wednesday supported initial priority flagship projects that will strengthen Europe's security, including the European Drone Wall and the Eastern Flank Watch. Now, the European leaders have expressed general support for the idea, but said some legal aspects of the operation would need to be clarified first. At a news conference, EU President Ursula von der Leyen said Belgium cannot be the only member state that carries the risk of using Russia's frozen assets to provide a €140 billion loan to Ukraine. The European Commission has proposed the EU should use the cash balances from frozen Russian central bank securities to support Kyiv in 2026 and 2027. Now, Ukraine would only repay the loan once Russia pays reparations for the damage it has caused. Also, Belgium, where most of the frozen assets are located, is adamant that before it agrees to the plan, it would need strong EU guarantees that it would not be left alone to deal with Moscow if the Russian assets had to be suddenly returned. And in the latest update in Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russian airstrikes cut power to Chernobyl, including the new safe confinement structure, creating an emergency situation, said Ukraine's energy minister. Now, shelling also caused power outages in Chernihiv, impacting 307,000 customers. Generators are set up for hospitals while crews restore the network. Experts are working to restore Chernobyl's power supply, though the ministry mentioned no increased risk of radioactive release due to the cutoff. The incident comes 8 days after the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in southern Ukraine also lost power, an ongoing situation that Ukraine calls critical but that Russia says is under control. And now we get you visuals from Vijay Ghat, where Vice President of India, C.P. Radhakrishnan, is going to pay his homage to Lal Bahadur Shastri, the second Prime Minister of India.
भूल को मेरे भुला कर भोला Hari Sundar Nand Mukunda, Hari Narayana Hari Om. Hari Sundar Nand Mukunda, Hari Narayana Hari Om. Hari Sundar Nand Mukunda, Hari Narayana Hari Om. Hari Keshava Hari Govinda, Hari Narayana Hari Om. Hari Keshava Hari Govinda, Hari Narayana Hari Om. Hari
All right, we were getting you visuals from Vijay Ghat, where Vice President of India, C.P. Radhakrishnan, paid his homage to the second Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, on his 121st birth anniversary. And moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday accused Russia of posing a threat to global security after Kyiv said a Russian shelling attack cut power to the defunct Chernobyl nuclear plant. Zelensky also said Moscow was doing nothing to fix the cutoff of external power to the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and was taking advantage of the weak position of the International Atomic Energy Agency and its Director General, Rafael Grossi. And a migrant caravan composed mainly of Cuban and Haitian nationals departed Tapachula in southern Mexico, heading towards central Mexico in search of better opportunities. Now, the migrants cited bureaucratic delays and the high cost of living as key reasons for their departure. Migration in the region has increased over the years due to ongoing political instability and violence in several Latin American and Caribbean countries. Many migrants see Mexico as both a temporary refuge and a gateway to the United States, despite the challenges they face along the way. And authorities in Argentina are cooperating with Peru to extradite the suspected mastermind behind a brutal triple homicide that has shocked the nation. The case involves the murder of 3 young women whose bodies were found buried in a garden in Buenos Aires province on September 19th. Officials said the victims were tortured and the act was live-streamed to a closed online group. The Argentine Minister of Security, Patricia Bullrich, said 9 individuals have been arrested so far, including suspects detained in Bolivia and Peru. He added all involved, including dozens who allegedly viewed the live stream, could face the maximum penalty under the law. Well, a powerful explosion shook a New York City Housing Authority building in the Bronx on Wednesday morning, causing a large section of the high-rise to collapse. The blast left a massive hole in the 20-story building at 205 Alexander Avenue in the Mitchell Houses complex, sending bricks, air conditioners and debris crashing down onto the street. Officials confirmed that no one was injured. Firefighters rushed to the spot with drones, dogs and heavy equipment and check if anyone was trapped under the rubble. Out of caution, other departments inside the building were evacuated, while other residents were allowed to return once inspections completed. However, gas service has been shut off across the entire complex while crews assess safety. Officials ensured residents that the structural integrity of the building is being closely inspected. And Russia's UN ambassador Vasily Nebenzia has stated that Moscow does not recognize the renewed United Nations sanctions imposed on Iran. The announcement follows the UN's reinstatement of an arms embargo and other punitive measures against Tehran, which were triggered by European powers over concerns about Iran's nuclear activities. Now, Nebenzia made his position clear at a press conference marking the beginning of Russia's presidency of the UN Security Council for October, saying, "We do not recognize the snapback as coming into force." Well, Britain, France and Germany initiated the snapback process at the UN Security Council over accusations Iran had violated a 2015 deal that aimed to stop it from developing a nuclear bomb. Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons. With the return of UN sanctions, Iran will again be subjected to an arms embargo and a ban on all uranium enrichment and reprocessing activities. And now we take you to Rajghat, where President Draupadi Murmu has reached to the memorial place of Gandhi to pay homage to Father of the Nation on his 156th birth anniversary today.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए मन अभिमान आने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे सकल लोक मां सहुने वंदे निंदा न करे तेरी रे सकल लोक मां सहुने वंदे निंदा न करे तेरी रे वाच काज मन निश्चल राखे वाच काज मन निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी तेरी रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे समदृष्टि ने तृष्णा त्यागी पर सृजे ने मात रे समदृष्टि ने तृष्णा त्यागी पर सृजे ने मात रे जीवा थकी असत्य न बोले जीवा थकी असत्य न बोले पर धन नव झाले हाथ रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए पीड़ पराए जाने रे मोह माया व्यापे नहीं जेने दृढ़ वैराग्य जेना मन मारे मोह माया व्यापे नहीं जेने
All right, we were getting you live visuals from Ghat, where President of India Draupadi Murmu paid homage to the Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 156th birth anniversary today. Popularly known as Bapu, Gandhiji was a social activist, politician and lawyer who championed non-violent resistance against British colonial rule. He played a pivotal role in the freedom struggle, and the nation observes his birth anniversary commemorating his legacy of non-violence, truth and simplicity. And now let's again take you to Ghat, where the Sarva Pratna Sabha is happening on the occasion of the birth anniversary of the
वैष्णव जन तो रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरे नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरे नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीता
We're getting you visuals, live visuals from Ghat, where President of India, Draupadi Murmu, paid homage to the Father of the Nation and attended the Pratna Sabha. And earlier, Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with other dignitaries, paid homage to the Father of the Nation at his memorial Ghat in New Delhi this morning. The United Nations declared October 2nd as the International Day of Non-Violence, honouring Gandhiji's commitment to peaceful protest. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembers Mahatma Gandhi on his birth anniversary, whose ideals transformed the course of human history. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Modi expressed, as I quote, "Gandhi Jayanti is about paying homage to the extraordinary life of beloved Bapu, whose ideals transformed the course of human history. He demonstrated how courage and simplicity could become instruments of great change. He believed in the power of service and compassion as essential means of empowering people. We will keep following his path in our quest to build a Viksit Bharat," unquote. And India also celebrates the birth anniversary of its second Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri, on October 2nd every year. Known for his integrity and contributions to the independence movement, military leadership during the 1965 India-Pakistan War, he coined the famous slogan, "Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan," hail the soldier, hail the farmer. Shastri also promoted the Green Revolution, advocating for scientific farming practices to boost food production and propel India towards self-sufficiency. Well, on this day, Indians honour his life, leadership and the values he stood for. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tribute to the former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri on his birth anniversary today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembered Lal Bahadur Shastri on his birth anniversary. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed, as I quote, "Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji was an extraordinary statesman whose integrity, humility and determination strengthened India, including during challenging times. He personified exemplary leadership, strength and decisive action. His clarion call of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan ignited a spirit of patriotism among our people. He continues to motivate us in the endeavour of building a strong and self-reliant India," unquote. And on 2nd of October 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Swachh Bharat mission across the entire country. Initiated as a national movement on the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, the mission aims to promote cleanliness, eliminate open defecation and improve solid waste management across urban and rural India. DD India's Princey Yadav reports for more.
On 2nd October 2014, brooms swept across dusty lanes, plastic bottles were hauled from the drains, and the wave of determination spread across every corner of India. The Swachh Bharat mission, launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, was far more than a cleanliness campaign. It was a nationwide awakening call with the promise of a cleaner future. Swachhata Hi Seva 2025 themed Swachhotsav is the latest chapter in this journey, which is uniting citizens, leaders and sanitation workers for cleaner and greener India. The campaign is also driving behavioral change at the grassroots level.
It's not just about cleaning one's air, it's about change in habits. I have seen Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is shaping students into tomorrow's responsible citizens. They are collecting their own trash and using dustbins and spreading awareness among themselves and in their communities also.
Numerous stories of change are unfolding across India. 12 crore toilets have been built, reducing open defecation. Significant improvement in public health, especially for women and children. Nearly 3 lakh under 5 child deaths prevented due to better sanitation. Over 8 lakh cleanliness target units were transformed in 2024, turning garbage dumps into usable spaces. Jammu and Kashmir Amarnath Yatra 2025 became a zero landfill pilgrimage. Kumbhi Kagaz startups in Assam are transforming the invasive water hyacinth into chemical-free handmade paper. Uttar Pradesh's Kuberpur dump site is now an integrated waste management city with forests and processing units. These efforts are steering India towards a sustainable, inclusive and developed Bharat by 2047.
What began as a call for cleaner streets is now shaping the discourse on public health, women's dignity and the responsibility towards environment. Swachh Bharat mission is reminding us that cleanliness is not someone else's job. It starts with you and me. With cameraman Manmohan, Princey Yadav for DD India.
And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Gandhi's legions rose against the British.
Across oceans, across time. Message of Mahatma Gandhi still travels. From streets of India to the world's stage, truth finds its way. Watch Gandhi's influence from India to global peace movements. 2nd October, 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuralan. Time now for a quick recap of the headlines. White House freezes funds for Democratic states and shutdown slab hits transit and green projects. Vice President J.D. Vance warns of federal worker cuts if shutdown continues. U.S. vows to defend Qatar against attacks following Israeli strikes last month. President Trump signs an executive order that will make any attack on Qatar a threat to peace and security of the United States. India pays homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 156th birth anniversary. The day is also observed worldwide as the International Day of Non-Violence. Festival of Dussehra, also known as Vijay Dashmi, is being celebrated across India with religious fervour, marking triumph of good over evil. And India and West Indies to clash in the first test of the 2-match series in Ahmedabad today. For the first time in more than a decade, Virat Kohli, R. Ashwin and Rohit Sharma will not be in the starting lineup. And moving on, Gandhiji presented Khadi as a symbol of nationalism, equality and self-reliance. Khadi is not just any other fabric, it symbolizes hard work, deep emotion and Atmanirbharta or self-reliance in its truest form. It reflects the spirit of a rising Bharat and reminds us how traditional values are powering modern growth. Watch this report by correspondent Siddharth Bharadwaj.
India is scaling a new chapter, hitting new milestones, setting benchmark and proudly walking toward the path of Atmanirbharta or self-reliance. And in this glorious journey, everyone, every citizen is contributing equally, pledging vocal for local for a stronger nation. And what I'm wearing today is Khadi, the pride of Bharat. Behind this fabric are thousands of stories, thousands of emotions of our weavers. This is more than a fabric. This is a movement. From the ramparts of Red Fort, PM Narendra Modi reiterated the importance of self-reliance, highlighting its significance and calling for an end to dependency.
आत्मनिर्भरता का नाता हमारे सामर्थ्य से जुड़ा हुआ और जब आत्मनिर्भरता खत्म होने लगती है तो सामर्थ्य भी निरंतर क्षीण होता जाता है और इसलिए हमारे सामर्थ्य को बचाए रखने, बनाए रखने और बढ़ाए रखने के लिए आत्मनिर्भर होना बहुत अनिवार्य है.
In his 126th
And now let's again take you to Vijay Ghat, where President Draupadi Murmu arrives at Vijay Ghat Memorial of former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri on his birth anniversary today. Well, we were getting you live visuals from Vijay Ghat, where President of India Draupadi Murmu paid her homage to the second Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, on his 121st birth anniversary today. Our nation pays homage to Gandhiji today, presented Khadi as a symbol of nationalism, equality and self-reliance. Khadi is not just any other fabric, it symbolizes hard work, deep emotion and Atmanirbharta, or self-reliance, in its truest form. It reflects the spirit of a rising Bharat and reminds us how traditional values are powering modern growth. Watch out this report by our correspondent Siddharth Bharatwaj.
India is scaling a new chapter, hitting new milestones, setting benchmark, and proudly walking toward the path of Atmanirbharta, or self-reliance. And in this glorious journey, everyone, every citizen is contributing equally, pledging vocal for local for a stronger nation. And what I'm wearing today is Khadi, the pride of Bharat. Behind this fabric are thousands of stories, thousands of emotions of our weavers. This is more than a fabric. This is a movement. From the ramparts of Red Fort, PM Narendra Modi reiterated the importance of self-reliance, highlighting its significance and calling for an end to dependency.
आत्मनिर्भरता का नाता हमारे सामर्थ्य से जुड़ा हुआ और जब आत्मनिर्भरता खत्म होने लगती है तो सामर्थ्य भी निरंतर क्षीण होता जाता है और इसलिए हमारे सामर्थ्य को बचाए रखने, बनाए रखने और बढ़ाए रखने के लिए आत्मनिर्भर होना बहुत अनिवार्य है.
In his 126th monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat, PM Modi talked about how the charm of Khadi has gained popularity in the past 11 years.
साथियों, 2 अक्टूबर को गांधी जयंती है. गांधी जी ने हमेशा स्वदेशी को अपनाने पर बल दिया और उनमें खादी सबसे प्रमुख थी. दुर्भाग्य से आजादी के बाद खादी की रौनक कुछ फीकी पड़ती जा रही थी, लेकिन बीते 11 साल में खादी के प्रति देश के लोगों का आकर्षण बहुत बढ़ गया है. पिछले कुछ वर्षों में खादी की बिक्री में बहुत तेजी देखी गई है. मैं आप सभी से आग्रह करता हूं कि 2 अक्टूबर को कोई न कोई खादी प्रोडक्ट जरूर खरीदें.
People are truly mesmerized by this fabric. Many say it evokes a deep sense of patriotism and pride when they wear Khadi. And well, Khadi now comes in different colors, designs to make sure you stay stylish while staying connected to your roots.
खादी का कलेक्शन इतना अच्छा होता है और खादी में इतना वैरायटी होती है, इतनी डिज़ाइनिंग होती है ना, बहुत पसंद आता है. कलमकारी हो गया, जैसे कि बहुत सारा डिज़ाइनिंग है, साड़ी, सूट और कुर्ती, सभी में बहुत अच्छा होता है सर.
मैं यूज़ करने के साथ साथ मैं लोगों को और भी बोलना चाहता हूँ कि फ्यूचर में ये हमारे देश का प्रोडक्ट है, तो खुद ही सब लोग आके एटलीस्ट खादी को आके इनकरेज करें और अपने देश का ही जो प्रोडक्ट है उसको आप उपयोग करें.
जब से हमारे पीएम साहब मोदी जी ने इसके बारे में कहा है, तब से तो हमारी सेल और ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है और उनके कहने से उनके तो युवा भी मतलब यहाँ खरीदने के लिए आता है सर.
Let's take a look at how Khadi has witnessed a surge in both production and sales. Khadi and village industries crossed 1.7 lakh crore rupees turnover in 2024-25. Sales rose 447% from 31,154 crore rupees in 2013-14 to 1,70,551 crore rupees in 2024-25. Production jumped 347% from 26,109 crore rupees to 1,16,600 crore rupees in the same period. KVIC now supports 1.94 crore jobs, reflecting a 49% increase over 11 years. Khadi craftsmen's wages grew 213% from 4 to 12.5 rupees per lacha, which is thread bundle. Khadi Gram Udyog Bhavan, New Delhi, touched a record 110 crore rupees sales for the first time. Khadi is steadily entering every home, connecting the nation with threads of pride and joy. So when we talk about Bharat's development, Atmanirbharta is the new mantra. And this festival season, buy Swadeshi and be vocal for local. With camera person Aniket, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj for DD India in New Delhi.
Well, Dussehra, also known as Vijay Dashmi, is also being observed across the country today. Dussehra, one of the most sacred Hindu festivals, celebrates the eternal triumph of good over evil, wisdom over ignorance, and righteousness over immorality. Deeply rooted in mythology and spirituality, the festival honors both Lord Rama's victory over Ravan and Goddess Durga's triumph over Mahishasur. Beyond its cultural and religious relevance, the Dussehra also carries profound astrological significance, as it is considered one of the most auspicious times of the year to begin new endeavors, strengthen spiritual practices, and invite divine blessings for prosperity. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings to the countrymen on the occasion of Vijay Dashmi today. Well, the grand festival of Dussehra also marks the culmination of the 9-day-long Navaratri celebrations observed with devotion, fasting and rituals in honor of Goddess Durga. As the vibrant festival of Durga Puja draws to a close, a striking tradition known as Sindoor Khela transforms pandals across West Bengal into a haze of scarlet and joy. On the final day, the air thickens with the smoke of incense and the resonant sound of conch shells as women gather brass plates laden with vermilion powder and sweets to bid farewell to Goddess Durga. From fairs and cultural performances to processions in towns and cities, the festival culminates the Navaratri journey. And in most of India, the Dussehra Vijay Dashmi is a one-day celebration marking the triumph of good over evil. But in Kullu Valley, the North India's Himachal Pradesh, the story doesn't end there. Kullu Dussehra begins on Vijay Dashmi and continues for a full week as a week-long festival celebrating Lord Raghunath. On Vijay Dashmi, the idol of Lord Raghunath is placed in a chariot and taken through the town. That is the start of the celebrations. Deities from nearby villages come on palanquins into Kullu Valley. They stay at Dhalpur grounds for the entire week. Lord Raghunath holds court for the entire week and the deities visit him one-on-one. On the 7th day, the deities accompany Lord Raghunath back to the palace. Folk performances, especially the Nati dance, local music and fairs are held daily. Due to its unique traditions, Kullu Dussehra granted international fair status. The festival does not use burning of Ravan effigies like elsewhere. Instead, it concludes with Lanka Dahan, a symbolic ritual. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended greeting on Vijay Dashmi. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Modi expressed, as I quote, Vijay Dashmi celebrates the triumph of good over and righteousness over evil and falsehood. May courage, wisdom and devotion always guide our paths. Wishing my fellow Indians a happy Vijay Dashmi, unquote. Under the occasion of the Dussehra, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will witness a multi-agency security exercise at the Lakinala military garrison on the Kutch border and perform Shastri Pujan. The Defence Minister will also inaugurate several new facilities for the Jawans and interact with the soldiers. Army Chief General Upendra Trivedi, along with senior officers from Army Headquarters, Southern Command, the Army Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard and BSF also will be present. This is Defence Minister's second visit to Kutch in 5 months. He had earlier visited Bhuj in May after Operation Sindoor to boost the morale of the soldiers. Some international updates now. The death toll from a magnitude 6.9 earthquake that struck off the central Philippines on Tuesday has risen to 72. Another 294 people were injured. The earthquake struck the region of Sumanep. Aftershock are continued throughout Wednesday as authorities set up mobile kitchens for hundreds of evacuees and raced to provide temporary power as night approached. The shallow quake struck waters off the central island of Cebu late at night, damaging power lines, bridges and multiple buildings, including a church that was more than 100 years old. The Philippines lies in the Pacific Ring of Fire, where volcanic activity and earthquakes are common. And around 59 people remain trapped under the ruins of a collapsed school on Indonesia's main island of Java that struck on 30th of September. Now, rescuers pulled 5 survivors from the rubble on Wednesday as frantic parents demanded stronger efforts to find dozens of children believed to be still trapped. Investigations into the cause of the collapse are ongoing, but initial signs point to substandard construction. Spokesman for the National Disaster and Mitigation Agency, Muhari, said the figure was based on an attendance list released by the multi-story boarding school, which gave way suddenly on Monday as students gathered for afternoon prayers, killing at least 5 people. And scientist and global activist Jane Goodall on Wednesday died at age 91 after dedicating her life to bettering human understanding of animal behavior. In a social media post, the Jane Goodall Institute said Goodall died of natural causes. She also drew the public into the wild, partnering with the National Geographic Society to bring her beloved chimps into their lives through film, TV and magazines. A prolific author, she published more than 30 books with her observations, including her 1999 bestseller Reason for Hope, A Spiritual Journey, as well as a dozen aimed at children. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DT India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and on to some sports news now. India will be favourites against a struggling and under-strength West Indies when the two teams face off in the first test in Ahmedabad on Thursday. West Indies, led by Roston Chase, have struggled with injuries to their fast bowlers. Their challenge will be to compete with the host over 5 days despite missing their 2 key seamers, Alzari Joseph and Shamar Joseph, to injuries. Left-arm spinner Kerry Pere is set for a long-awaited test debut at the age of 34. Meanwhile, Indian captain Shubman Gill, who will lead the side for the first time at home, said the weather looked seamer-friendly and the host might play 3 seamers for the first test match. India's last home series ended in a humiliating 0-3 loss to New Zealand, but they secured 2-2 draw in England. Indians host West Indies for the first time in 7 years. And DT India's Narayan Singh joins us for more on this. Well, Narayan, we're expecting India to continue with its winning streak. What is the situation on the ground?
Definitely, Pakshi, if we talk about India and the test format against West Indies, the favourite team to win the series too, because the 24 crucial points of the World Test Championship will be on the line. If you take a look, both the teams, India, their last home series was a 3-0 derby against New Zealand, and we know that first time India lost a home series with a margin of 3-0 against the New Zealand, but after that they performed extremely well in the English condition where they drew a 5-match series against England by 2-2, and they displayed a strong performance that, but now back home, and we know that a different side, and first time India in the home conditions since 2010 will be without Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and R. Ashwin.
Right.
So there are the few changes in the team. We know that India have the quality, have the potential, and the big difference of class between the two teams, between India and West Indies. So in these conditions, definitely India will try out to figure out some things, because there is a problem of plenty for this Indian team. There are 4 genuine all-rounders in the team. Ravindra Jadeja is there, Akshar Patel is there, Washington Sundar is there, and Nitish Kumar Reddy is there. So who to pick, whom to pick, it will be a big headache for the Indian squad, Indian management, because if you take a look, there is a green pitch, the grass of the 4 mm to 5 mm is there on the Ahmedabad pitch. This is not the rusty Ahmedabad pitch that used to be. First time we have seen such a green pitch in the Ahmedabad. So it remains to see how the Indian team approaches their combination, where they will add one more extra seamer like Prasidh Krishna, or whether they will go for the spinners. Because if you take a look, Kuldeep Yadav, it is very difficult to, we can say that, ignore him, as well as Akshar Patel has a fantastic record at this particular venue. And we know that Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja, because of their performance in the England, I think they will be automatic picks. So good thing for India is that they have the plenty of problem, but West Indies fighting for the survival in the format of the game.
All right. Thank you so much, Narayan, for all those details. And moving on, defending champions Australia thrashed trans-Tasman rivals New Zealand by 89 runs at the ICC Women's World Cup opening match on Wednesday. Seasoned all-rounder Ashley Gardner's commanding century and disciplined effort from the bowlers helped the Aussies begin their quest for 8th title in spectacular fashion. Gardner struck her second ODI century to revive Australia from a mini collapse and take them to a big total of 326 all out in 49.3 overs after opting to bat first. Pacer Annabel Sutherland and spin duo of Alana King and Sophie Melaniacs were among the wickets as Australia restricted New Zealand to 237 in 43.2 overs to notch a comprehensive win. And tennis great Roger Federer leads the list of nominees announced on Wednesday for the International Tennis Hall of Fame's class of 2026. He was the first man to win 20 Grand Slam single titles and ushered in an era of unprecedented greatness in younger rivals Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Federer won 103 trophies and 1,251 matches in singles, totals surpassed among men only by Jimmy Connors in the Open era, which began in 1968. At the height of his powers, Federer reached a record 10 consecutive Grand Slam finals from 2005 to 2007, capturing 8 titles in that span. And on to soccer, title holders Paris Saint-Germain came from behind to beat Barcelona 2-1 with a last-minute goal in the Champions League on Wednesday. The meeting of the Spanish champions and the reigning French and European champions was one of the most eagerly anticipated of the opening stages of this season's competition. It lived up to its billing despite Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele missing out injured for an under-strength PSG, with Lamine Yamal showing flashes of his brilliance for the host. This win makes it 2 from 2 for PSG in the season's Champions League. And all right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
Gandhi's legions rose against the British.